Hey, everybody, good morning, or afternoon, or night, whenever you're watching this. Hi, I am Rachel. I am your librarian, and I am super excited to meet you. Because this is an online class, I don't get to meet you face to face, which is unfortunate, but I did want to take just a minute to tell you, like, hello and who I am, give you a little background about me, and then I'm going to give you a real quick overview of library resources. So, my name, as I said, is Rachel, and I've been a librarian since 2012. So I have my MLS from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and then I worked in Pennsylvania for a couple of years. I got an MA in English Lit while I was there. In 2014, I relocated to the DMV area where I now work at UMD Libraries. So I am the head of teaching and learning services, which manages sort of like big scale courses. And then I am also on the side the librarian for library and information science, which I love because MLS students are my favorite people in the whole world. This is my second year in this capacity, and I just feel really fortunate to be able to work with you all because I think you have such cool projects and ideas. And it's just really nice to work with grad students. I so often work with first year undergrads that it's just nice to have like a different group of people to support. So you can reach out to me for anything. Obviously, like research help, I am your lady, but also if you just want to talk about libraries or academic libraries or you're not sure who to talk to get information on whatever, you can feel free to reach out to me. So this is the part where I switch. Oh, wait, I also want to say that I'm happy to set up in-person appointments, obviously. But if you are a distance education student, I can also set up a phone call, a Google Hangout, a WebEx. There's a lot of ways for us to interface that don't involve you physically driving to College Park. So please don't feel like your distance or lack of proximity to campus is a barrier to our relationship. Okay, I am now going to switch to the part where my head gets tiny and goes in the bottom right-hand corner. All right, so to get to the library website, you are going to go to lib.umd.edu. And it's going to take you to this beautiful homepage here. You can see that all of our options on the top, like global navigation bar. And then down at the bottom, there's some useful stuff that sometimes people miss, like all the branches are on the left, the branch libraries. There's resources for Ask Us if you have a question and you don't want to email me directly. You can go to Ask Us and you can submit this form over on the right-hand side once it loads. There we go. So you can put your name, your email, your affiliation, your question. And if it's about library stuff, it'll get sent to me. Anytime you end up on a page you don't want to be on, you just click the library logo and it takes you back home. Okay, we are going to talk quickly about up on the top services. Under research support is a link for research services. So this is specifically for grad students and faculty, which is you. And you can see over on the left-hand side, events is great. So there's writing and research events, there's common quandaries workshops. Both of these are targeted at grad students. Sometimes there's stuff on lit reviews or on citation management. So some really useful information there. And so I encourage you to take a look. There's also like services and spaces. So back on the library website here, you see this main search box in the library website. This is WorldCat. WorldCat is a catalog of the world. This is like the first thing that you come in contact with. So it feels like what you should be using for your searching, but I don't actually recommend it for articles. I think WorldCat, it's the only place to go to find books because this is our OPAC, our online public access catalog. But it's not super great for articles. So we are going to look at it in terms of books. And I want to point out these radio dials on the top. So UBorrow is one way that we can do interlibrary loan. So we can borrow books through the Big Ten libraries, and it comes much faster and it costs less for the libraries. Not that really matters to you, but it does. If you are a distant student, unfortunately, we do not mail books to students, but if you want to make a trip down to McKeldin once or twice a semester to pick up some materials, then you're certainly welcome to borrow some materials. So in WorldCat here, we are going to start with just like something, services for teenagers, just something sort of big. So I sure did mean that, so it'll correct your spelling for you. So we have 23,000 results, which is just a ton. And you're going to notice that a lot of those are books. So if you look down here in the formats, you'll see books is 20,500, while there's only 1,500 articles. So for the books here, you'll see their ebooks are high, like the number of them is high. So I actually buy a ton of stuff as an ebook format because we do have such a large online program, which I think is a great option if you are a distant student. So these ebooks you can access straight through the library catalog. You don't need to drive, you don't need to do anything. So the ebooks are all here. You would just click view ebook, and then it gives you some options. So this one happens to be through EBSCO. As I'm sure your professor has told you, EBSCO is the name of a vendor. It is not a database in itself. So we host a lot of different databases through EBSCO. So this one, if we wanted to view this book, we've got down at the bottom the table of contents. So if we wanted to understanding ethnicity and children's mental health, we just click on that and we've got the full book here. It will have page numbers down at the bottom, so it's easy to cite. So I really, really recommend using ebooks, especially as a distance student. Okay, we're just going to close out of this tab for now. So back here, that's pretty much what I would use WorldCat for, is ebooks. If you want to look at books itself, like physical books, then I would just narrow down to stuff that's at McKeldin over on the left-hand side. So these are the books that are available. So this is on the shelf at McKeldin Library. The Z's is your section, which is up on the 7th floor. If you come down to the library, I will be glad to give you a little tour through the stacks, or you can talk to somebody at the front desk and they can help you out. But for now, since you're in this online class, I would focus on those ebooks. Okay, for articles, anytime you want to get back home, you click the university library logo and it takes you back where you need to be. So we are going to go to the second tab on the top in this box, which is databases. And we are going to browse database by type or subject. So we are library and information science. So these are in alphabetical order. The spacing on it is kind of weird, but we are library and information science, information studies. And then at the top, it gives you this best bet, which is actually the best database that I recommend for you. So library and information science source is the database. I also want to point out that on this page is me. So Meet Your Subject Specialist is over on the right-hand side. So all my information is here, my email address, my phone number. If you want to schedule a consultation, you can do it right through this link. It updates with my availability. And that does not have to be an in-person consultation, as I mentioned. So if you want to drop something on my calendar, I am happy to set up a Google Hangout so we can do this remotely. Okay, so back on our database page, we are going to click Library and Information Science Source. This is again going to be hosted through EBSCO, so you'll see EBSCO is on the left, but the database that we are using is Library and Information Science Source. So from here, something that people often miss is if you scroll down, we've got all of these advanced search options, which can be really important. So if you know that you only want, for example, information coming within the last 10 years, then you can go ahead and narrow that down, the published date right here, rather than doing it once you get into the search screen. But it is totally up to you. I'm going to show you two ways to search for information. The first is by keyword. So let's say that we are doing teenagers. Again, we're sticking with our teenagers. And library services. So the first option is that we put in our key terms and then we just search to see what gets pulled back. Your Boolean operators here, I think you've probably talked about this in class, but this works like dating, which is always my analogy. So if you are looking for somebody that is tall, then there are a certain number of tall people in the world. If you want somebody that's tall and smart, then you are going to have less people available. If you want somebody that's tall and smart and handsome, then you have even less people. Whereas if you want somebody that's tall or smart, then you have twice as many people. If you want somebody that's tall or smart or handsome, then you have 3 times as many people. So those Boolean operators are a little confusing because they don't work intuitively. So I think I want a piece of candy and I want cake is twice as many things, but in actuality, and is going to narrow while or is going to broaden. So we are going to use and because we want teenagers only related to library services. So we're going to hit our search here. We have 2,000 results, and then we can narrow this down on the left-hand side. So the publication date is always really important. We probably don't want stuff from 1943, so we can pull that up to something a little more reasonable, the last 13 years. So we're down to 1,500. Over on the left-hand side, the subject can be really important. So if we click on subject, it shows us these are the number of articles. So of these 1,500 articles on teenagers and library services published between 2005 and now, we have 647 that are on libraries and teenagers, 175 are on public libraries. So this is a really easy way to narrow down your information. So let's say we only want libraries and young adults, and we click on that. It's going to take us from our 1,500 down to 300, which is so much better. Once you find an article that you love, if you click on the record here, it's going to tell you all the information. So where it came from, the subjects are the key terms. So these are what the database has said that this article is about. The ISSN is the barcode of the journal or magazine that this is from. And then over on the left-hand side are your options. So we can get this in PDF full text, which is super. So here is our article that we found. Over on the right-hand side, if you can see the options, so you can email this to yourself. I wish these were a little more intuitive, but the golden button is cite. So you are using APA, and this is usually pretty close to correct. You'll see the only thing that's wrong is the capitalization, so you're going to want to fix that because APA, only the first letter of the title, anything after a semicolon and a public noun, a proper noun, sorry, is capitalized. If you want to save the link to this, you're going to click the link button. It's going to give you this permalink, which is what I'd recommend because if you copy what's at the top, it's going to work for a couple of days, but eventually you won't be able to get back to it. If you find an article that we don't have, which does occasionally happen, all of these look like they're available, but we'll just click this as an example. You would click the Find at UMD button, the red button, and it's going to take you to this page. So in this case, we have full text, which is right here. If we did not have full text, so if you opened this page and it said full text availability and nothing was listed, then you would click request this item through interlibrary loan. Interlibrary loan is really important for distance ed students. We have a fantastic interlibrary loan department. They turn around information really quickly. So you can get this back in, as little as 24 hours. So I definitely recommend using it. So it's going to fill in all the information for you. The date needed, if for example, you know that your assignment is due July 6th and this article is not going to be helpful for you after that point, then you would just put the last possible day that you can accept it. And then will you accept an open access article? Always, just always say yes. Okay, so I said I was going to show you 2 ways to search, which I definitely want to do. So up at the top, the second way is to use the thesaurus button. As grad students, I think this is just really invaluable information. So if we search for teenager, it's going to tell you exactly how the database is using this term. So in this case, teenagers works on people in the general age range of 13 through 18, and it recommends that we use library and teenagers as our search term. So if we click this and just hit add, it's going to put it up in the top. And then if we hit search, rather than searching by key term, which is searching abstract and full text and everything else, this is only searching in that subject field for articles that have this listed. So it's a way to really narrow down your search and target something in particular. Okay, so that is the basic overview. It was so great to meet you. Please email me if you have any questions, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Have a great class.